We got there. Hi, everyone. Welcome to Inspire, Innovate and Ignite, conversations that are bringing together women from around the world to discuss topics at a deeper level. So we are not holding back. And so if you're feeling stressed about money, if you're earning good money, but you're constantly feeling broke, if you and your other half are always arguing about finances, or maybe even the opposite, you've decided that you can't talk about it anymore, so you avoid the conversation, then you might want to invest the next hour and just really connect with our conversation, because we're going to go there. We're going to cover different topics. So today's topic is really exciting because our panelists are here to have this courageous conversation together around money. My name is Taga. I'm the Money Emotional Intelligence Coach, and I'm also founder of Your Money Bestie app that helps you rebuild your finances from the inside out so that you can live your best life. And I'm also the host of Restore Your Inner Money Guru Tribe within the Sacred You community that's bringing these amazing conversations together. So here we're about to have real conversations around money, and we're going to really allow ourselves to go to places that possibly a lot of platforms avoid, because as women, we've always known that stuff is just not right, or there's this instinct that we have. And so rebalancing the divine feminine with the divine masculine around money allows us to turn up in our best possible version of self. So without further, let me introduce our amazing panelists that we have joining us here today. And I'll start with Gloria. Now, Gloria is a best-selling author, speaker, energy healer, and founder of the LOVE, Love Method. And she's overcoming a family history of substance abuse and depression. And through the grace of God, Gloria channels messages from the heart to awaken her clients to their divine identity so that they can live and fully love deeply and engage authentically. That's what we all want, right? Just to be our real selves with authenticity. And then, of course, we have the lovely Heather. Heather Mitchell is a holistic money mentor, and she helps women find equilibrium. She helps them discover their fundamental relationship and behavior around money and success, and correct any areas of concern to really get the universe on side and learn how to manage money and build a solid investment portfolio. And she also runs the Foundations of Financial Freedom Group mentoring program for both women and couples. So check out her webpage to see the next ones when the next ones are running. Okay, and now we have Allison with us. Hey, Allison. She's our business mentor, certified life coach, and Akashic Records reader. And through the Human Design Chart, Allison empowers women to trust their own inner guidance. Who's noticing themes here? And have the courage to take active steps because they know they are worthy. So Allison's also the host of the Human Design Tribe as well. And Parvini, have we got to Parvini? Not yet, but also what I'd like to do is really start this conversation by helping to share with our viewers a little bit more about our panelists. And so, lovely ladies, I'd love to ask you, let's start with having a conversation. Now, we know that many changes in our lives come around this line in the sand moment in our life, the moment when something forces you to make changes. So for me, it was breast cancer. and on a global level more recently, of course, it's been COVID. So I'd love you to each share briefly what was your line in the sand moment, and then what changes financially did that force you into making? Let's start with Gloria.
Oh my, okay, that's a really great question. And it's interesting. My line in the sand moment actually came about, let's see, almost a year ago. And it's regarding my marital relationship. And with my husband, I've been married 32 years this year. 33 years this year. And I love him, and he's a wonderful guy. And we've also grown apart, as often happens over the years, and also realized that our values were different in some key areas. And so I made the decision to leave. And so we've separated, and I moved into an apartment earlier this year. And so my goal is still to be financially independent, and I'm still not quite there. I'm going to be honest with you. I'm still relying on him a lot for financial support. And I know that it was the best thing that I could have done for myself, because it has given me the ability to really focus in on myself and really figure out who I am, number one, and what I want. And things are shifting, and things are, I'm stepping into my power of who I want to be, how I want to show up. I am starting to make money. I'm very fortunate. I've got a wonderful son who makes a really good living, and he treated me to a wonderful trip this past week and paid for everything. So, after all the years of me raising him and spending money, it was nice to be on the receiving end. And I think that's important too, is to be able to have that ability to be able to receive graciously when someone, wants to share their abundance with you, because it doesn't always have to be money that we're earning. It can show up in other ways that we can still feel abundance. That's about where I am right now with that.
That's powerful, and I just want to honor you. Thank you for sharing that. And I'm really glad that you touched on the reciprocity, because as women and mums, we're not that good about, we're always good about giving. And it's that whole idea of reciprocity, and also then the impact that we have on the people we love, the influence we have. So thank you so much for sharing that. All right, Heather.
Yes, I think for me, I think COVID has been quite an interesting period, because I've always been quite a trusting soul, and I've got my Aries kind of newness about me. I've always sort of been very sort of full of wonder. And I think a lot of the corruption and things like that that is inherent in society, I think that I've really been face to face with that, which I kind of knew about it in the back of my mind, but I wasn't really so confronted by it all. So, so for me, it's just getting over that and working out strategies to still thrive, but just be under the full awareness of the corruption that is in our society, and just kind of just work with it. So it's kind of a very sort of big sort of holistic kind of realization. But I think it's sort of part of one's development, and just being kind of adult about things, and just being able to kind of just work with what you find yourself with. So that's my line in the sand moment, is just that kind of realization, that dawning on me that this is the kind of society that we find ourselves in right now.
Oh my goodness. I can say we needed more than an hour for this conversation, right? Already the themes that are coming through, the systemic issues that we are now standing up And it's like you said, Heather, it's like we always had this feeling, oh, this doesn't feel right. But then we've tried to fit in with it and to be part of accepted into that tribe. We had to accept things that didn't feel right. And I feel like this major shift is like, this isn't working. Look where it's getting us to. So we are shaking up the systemic BS that we've lived with and accepted in the past, but never really had the courage to challenge. So yeah, love this, Heather. Beautiful. Allison.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Oh, geez, how many lines in the sand did I need to get before I actually decided to change it? I mean, really? The most significant that I can recall recently is where, you know, you get to a point where your boundaries have just been pushed beyond limits, and you're sitting there in your human design, not self theme. So for me as a generator, I was frustrated as hell, right? Frustrated beyond my core to the point where my boundary had been pushed so far that I'd just go, F this, I've had enough, I'm done, right? And that was my 9 to 5 for me. I had just had enough of being pushed around, told to do this, told to ignore that, you know, like, it's just like, no, this is not how I want to run. This is not what I want to be. This is not who I want to be. So in 2019, I got 3 signs from the universe to quit. Didn't quit. Didn't quit on the first and second time, but on the third time I did. I promise you I did. And since that day I quit. And since the moment I've left that 9 to 5 back in the January of 2020, after the bushfires, because it had just rocked me to the core with that. I worked in insurance, so I was hearing all the stories from people who had had their houses burnt, and it was really taxing on the body and the mind. But I had quit prior to that, so there was an element of me already detaching, but still emotionally invested in the clients that I was working with, you know, up until the very end. So when you sort of when I look back on that line in the sand, I go, crackers, like, why didn't I do that months ago, you know? But at the same time, it was all in that divine timing. So, and I have not looked, I mean, there have been, don't get me wrong, there have been very low moments of finances and then very high moments of finances. I would never, like, even on those low moments when you're sitting in the valley and going, where's the next dollar coming from? I need to buy milk.
Yeah.
When you're in that moment, you go, oh, I'm not doing that again. And you recognize that line that you drawn with yourself and decided in that moment that that's not an option. Yeah.
Wow. I don't know about you guys, but I just need to breathe right now.
Keep breathing, because it actually moves the energy really well.
Did you want to take us through breathing, Allison? Just a quick breathing?
Well, sure. If you want to just place your right or left hand on your heart and just, I mean, I do generally it's one on the heart, one on the stomach, or you can do both hands on the heart and just literally close your eyes. And just relax into the position that you're in currently, lying down, sitting, driving, it doesn't matter. If you're driving, please do not close your eyes. Just relax into your hips, into the sit bones of your body, and feel your root chakra just anchoring itself into the earth. This is your safety net. And so when we hear stories, when we feel things from other people, we tend to raise ourselves out of our bodies. So this is bringing us back in through our root chakra, through those sit bones out into the earth. And just taking a few nice deep breaths for yourself here. And with every breath out, I really want you to push the breath into the root chakra. Really ground that energy in. And then as you finish breathing out on your in-breath in, I want you to let go of everything that you're holding on to in the tension of your hips and let it fall out through your legs to your feet and into the earth. And just tell yourself in this moment that I am grounded and I am safe. And just notice what your hips do. Pay attention to the messages that your body is telling you, not your mind. And then when you're ready, you can come back out, open your eyes, come back to your normal breath. And just notice the difference from what you were a minute ago to what you are now.
Oh my
It's the most
goodness.
simplest practice to get yourself grounded when you start to feel like, and I know, that ungroundedness, as soon as you start to feel like, that's you wanting to exit out of the physical body. So it's a really good practice to get back in.
Perfect. And when we understand that these practices, these resources are available to us, this is how we begin to dismantle the controls that have been hitting us from outside. My background is banking, so I was sitting very much in the head. And it's only just been since I've moved into the space, like you say, Heather, questioning all of the systemic things that have been going on. How do we step out of the systems of oppression and control that we've known? We've never had these conversations around money. So thank you so much for that example, Allison, because if you're watching this on the replay, these are the resources that we have available to us. And the only time we're able to know when we can reach out to these resources is when we're feeling it in our body, right? There's been such a disconnect around money and body, and so we're about to disrupt that. So some really interesting things that have come up in your shares that I'd really like to build on, ladies, is you noticed that things weren't right, you've reached out. Can you tell me, on reflection, Steve Jobs calls it joining the dots, looking back. What do you think were the key things that might have, that you've built or developed coming out of that situation? We'll go back to you, Gloria.
Well, it's been, I think the most important thing is something that I recommend in my book has been meditation. It's like that has been my go-to practice since 2009, as I first started meditating. And it has really been the thing that helps to ground me and to center myself and to be able to manage all the things that kind of come and go in life. And I'm able to handle things so much better when I do take the time every day to spend in that quiet time. And it really has, it's made all the difference in the world. It truly has. It's raised my tolerance level for things. It's also helped me to, well, not only that, but also part of what I've learned over the years, and especially the last couple of years in the process of writing my book and really delving into the love method. That's what I talk about, is being able to let go of the L in love stands for let go and let God, and to be able to let go of attachments to things, but also to let go of things that when people are trying to put their beliefs on you or, their issues, and to allow me to kind of take a breath and look at it and say, I'm not going to respond right now because this is triggering me. And I'm going to take some time and distance it. And because I had something happen earlier this year with comment that triggered an in-law, and I waited a while, and I waited actually, I think about a whole day or 2 days. And then I was, in doing that and spending time meditating, I was able to finally see it from her perspective. And then I was able to respond and own my part of it, that it wasn't, it wasn't totally, no, it's not me, it's you. No, there was an element of, yeah, it was me. I could have handled things better. So just having that awareness and having that foundation has helped with so many things. And I think it's what's helping me also to be able to start focusing in on money and starting to pay attention to money, because I've been one of those people who is in denial. If we don't look at it, then we don't know what's going on. We don't know what's going on though if we're not looking at it. So I'm spending more time in really getting to know, tracking my finances, tracking where am I spending money, and realizing that if I want to attract more money into my life, I need to know where it's coming from. I need to know where it's going, and to be friends with it, this whole process, because it's being in denial doesn't work.
Wow, Gloria, the power and the skill of discernment and just being able to create space when something hits us and we notice we're being triggered, and just giving yourself permission to just step back and create that space of time, so that you can really discern, is this me? Where's this coming from? I love that. That's such a powerful thing that it's taken me a while to develop, but many, I can't believe, what was I thinking when I said that? Moments.
Well, it's still a practice, you've got to continually practice at it. So I don't pretend to be expert at it. No.
Totally agree. And I think the key there is to review it without shame, and our own shame and our own judgment. Love it. Heather.
Yeah, so for me, it's coming back to myself, kind of similar, I guess, to Gloria, but really healing myself and noticing what's going on in my body, because we carry our emotions in our body. So really kind of understanding what's going on there and really healing that and coming back to my power. I think that's been such an important process. I'm sort of still in the process of doing it, but it's incredibly empowering. And then I think it just clears the mind to be able to think of alternative strategies, some out of the box ideas and working outside the system. I think that, there's so much that we can do. I think it's just taking back your power to be able to kind of work out, no matter what we're hit with, no matter what the circumstances, we can still thrive. It's just a case of just having our eyes open and working out a sensible and effective strategy.
Yeah. You touch on a really important thing there, and I'm feeling that there's a lot of themes around this coming through as well. Is really bringing I don't know what the word is, if I use ethereal, into then practice. Like in the past, I think we've all watched The Secret. That really was about just think about it and it'll happen. Like we're now starting to see, well, hold on, how do I reach out into that and bring it together and marry it together and then take action, so that we've seen that forward momentum. And an interesting thing I just wanted to ask you there, Heather, with your experience in terms of investments and being able to save and keep it in the savings without dipping into it. I see this all the time, and I've done it a lot. It's taken me a lot of muscle building to understand, why can't I build investments without dipping into it? What are your thoughts on that, Heather, and how that links back to what we're talking about?
I think there's a lot of, there's just so many different things that go on underneath. and I think that, a lot of that kind of thing is to do with ourselves and our perceptions of ourselves and what we believe we are worthy of. If we feel we can't save, then it might be that we just don't believe that we deserve to have a big bank balance. And therefore, we're doing things that underneath, because if we don't believe in ourselves, then our ego is like, well, okay, that's all you think that you're worth. So we'll make sure that we keep to that kind of level. So yeah, I mean, that it's so subtle, you don't know what's going on. It's all happening underneath, but it's debilitating because it affects every minute of our lives, where we have money is a consideration throughout our lives. And if we're believing this negative things about ourselves, then it will have far-reaching effects. So we always start with self. We always start there and really go deep and find out what exactly is going on, because that will make all the difference.
Absolutely. Thank you for that. Money mindset. I better move on because we're going to run out of time, and I just want to take it deeper. Allison. Allison, I'm really curious around also, with the human design. Since I've discovered it, I've had so many aha moments, which has then fed into the way that I make decisions around things as well. So I'll really invite you to go into that.
Well, actually, our money is linked to our aura. You think of, we are energy. Everything is energy. We are energy. We are made of energy. So money is a flow of energy that runs through us. I call this our river of wealth. And if you, I work in the Akashic Records, and it is a river of wealth, and it is your wealth. It's your everything, your abundance, your multi-dimensional faceted self. So in human design, that corresponds to the centers inside your chart, whether they're opened, defined, or undefined. And then, the conditioning that you had as a child. Because I too, my mum and dad were bankers, and then straight out of school, I went into the police force, another story, but I got out of the police force, went into the banking industry because it was all I knew. Mum and dad did it, so I'm going to do it because I failed at the thing that I actually wanted to do. Right. So already by the time I was 20, I'd already conditioned myself to failing my own creativity, because the life that I was trying to make back then didn't work out the way I had planned it. So in human design, the first thing I look at is your open centers, your defined centers, like what's going on there. They correspond to our chakra system. And in the body element, when we embrace our energy from within, our chakra system can correspond to our blueprint that we can physically see in our human design chart. And there's so much work that can be done on the subconscious level and the superconscious level. Because when you're working with your soul's intelligence, it's all 4 energetic bodies. It's your spirit, your mind, your heart, and your soul. And your physical body. Right? We are here having a physical human experience. And we need to enjoy it, embrace it, love it.
Love that. I find that when we're working in our fullest expression, and when you work with people who let go and allow themselves to live in their fullest expression, anything's possible. Nothing else matters. But it's understanding, after all of the conditioning and the societal stuff that's been going on, who am I?
And that corresponds mostly in human design to your G center, which is your identity, your love, and the direction in your life. And I find that a lot of the people I work with have a undefined G center, which means that they're a filter for what they actually want to do and be in this life. Whereas me, who has a defined center, knows the direction I'm heading, knows which way it's going, know what I want. It's just, for me, my struggle is that lack of trusting myself, you know, in those moments. And that's been like a massive lesson since 2019 when I didn't quit the first 2 times. You know?
Yeah.
Everything leads back to something.
Absolutely. And it comes back to everything's happening for us to be in that fullest expression. And it allows us then to let go of the shame. Oh, wait, if that hadn't have happened, I wouldn't have learned this. And I need that to be able to, you know, upskill or, you know, get me to the next stage that I need to in order to achieve my vision, what I am in my fullest expression. And I bet if you've just come in, you're watching, I thought this was about money. Guess what? We go deep. Absolutely. It's not just about the budget and, you know, what the patriarchal financial literacy educators would tell you. It goes much deeper than that. And when you understand that, the money falls into place. It really does. It's powerful. It sounds a bit, you know, weirdo, but it really works, doesn't it? I've heard you say often, Alice, it's like, oh my God. You know, if that hadn't have happened, you would never have believed that it could.
That's right. If you didn't listen to your heart enough, then you wouldn't have made the choice that you've made. Right? And the universe will stop you in your tracks if you don't listen.
And this is part of dismantling the conditioning that we've had, because how many times have we heard, don't go with your heart doesn't know. Think of it logically. You know, and so we've been taught not to follow our heart. Oh, that doesn't make sense on a spreadsheet, so it must be wrong.
The computer says no. What do you mean it says computer says no?
Computer just crashed. Oh, that's crazy. And I mean, even when you think about the computer and just, you know, humanity as we've known it in the past, we've just tried to control so much. And, you know, when we start to delve back into keeping it simple and trusting, it's meant to go in the direction that we don't even know what it's meant to look like, because that's all part of the trust, isn't that Steve Jobs said? It's, you've just got to trust in something and that instinct that we all have, and that the money flows from that.
Because it can close us down. If we're concentrating on the money, then that closes us down, and we treat the money as like a yardstick of our own self-worth. And if it's that way round, it can never work. It has to start with ourselves first. You have to be happy first. You have to be content first. You have to be grateful first. And then it's the other way around. Then the money and the success and all the things come to you. But it's
when
not.
When you're working with the flow of energy rather than the constriction of energy, that is when it all just begins to flow. Like you said, once you hit gratitude, once you hit that ground running, the well just fills.
Yeah, I'm loving this conversation, and I know that we have a few people watching at the moment. Please feel free to drop any comments or questions here for our panelists to speak into, and trust yourself. This is what's coming through really strongly. It's important to feel comfortable with the imperfect. You know, start to, I guess one question that I'd love to put to you all is, if you had to rebuild your life in, let's say, a common thread that I see, because I hang out in a lot of these forums, is, oh my God, I'm 50, I have to start again from scratch. Where does one start? They know that everything's going wrong, the stuff's hit the fan, and where do I start? Gloria, I'd love to hear your thoughts on that.
I think it starts from, and it's still, it sounds cliche, but doing what you love and really focusing in on that. I mean, I'm in the process of shifting my business. I'm restarting in a sense. I just turned 60, so I'm going out on my own now, and my business had been doing one thing for a very long time, but I really want to embrace more of this spiritual work and doing energy healing as opposed to SEO copywriting, which is what I've been doing for a very long time, and I still enjoy doing. So it still comes back to loving yourself and really taking the time to get to know yourself. And so whatever way you do that, to be able to spend time in, some sort of quiet meditation or going for a walk, but doing something that you can start figuring out who you are now and deciding it. And that's the beauty, is you get to decide right now what you want to do, and don't worry about the how so much, because if you focus in on what it is that you like and be grateful for an opportunity to have a restart perhaps, then the hows will take care of themselves. You'll start getting more insights and ideas, or resources will come to you when you least expect it. But to just really think about what makes you happy. I mean, as an example, but in June this year, I decided that I wanted to have a retreat for my 60th birthday. And I'd always wanted to do it, had never launched one. And I just said, you know what? I'm going to see if I can do it. And I found a weekend, and I sent out an email, and people wanted to see if they would be interested. And they said yes. And everything just started falling into place, and I was able to do it. And I had it. And there were only a couple of people there, but it was still a wonderful weekend. And so trusting in yourself, which I know seems to be this theme we keep coming around to, it's so important. And just following your heart, and things will happen. And sometimes you do have to do some practical things too, and that's okay. But ultimately, lean into your heart, and it's gonna point you in the right direction.
Love that. It's a strong theme today, isn't it? Heather.
Yes, I definitely agree with Gloria. I think it's definitely working with your passion, because your passion is what you're always meant to do. It's like, that's God sent, that's heaven sent. That's, if you have a talent or a passion, then that's yours. That's amazing. That's your spirit kind of speaking. So if, and then it's finding an angle that the market wants. It's finding that sweet spot between the thing that you love and then the thing that that people will want to buy. So I think that's, in terms of starting your own business, I definitely think that's kind of the ideal kind of scenario, because you've got to be wanting to do it all the time. So I guess that really is important. And then in terms of just wealth in general, I think it's, if you kind of, you're starting off, so it's kind of working out a structure that from the very beginning has multiple streams of income sort of built into the very fabric of what you do. I think if you can think that way, if you can think that broader way, so it's just like, it's not just like that single, only one income stream that you're kind of so limited, and there's that vulnerability if it doesn't work out. If one can think about it holistically from the very beginning, then I think that's where the power lies. That's where, one can really build that muscle memory and those opportunities, because there are so many different things one can do. It's just kind of thinking outside the box a little bit and working out a strategy that way.
Love that. I love that. And I think we've all seen the idea of multiple streams of income. And I think it's if you're only ever known being paid through wages or having a job, if you've only ever known that, sometimes it can be challenging to think outside. Oh, what's this idea of multiple streams of income? Lean into that. Start with the little questions of curiosity that are coming up for you, because that will lead you into, all of us have come through those spaces where in the past we might have shut that down and gone, oh, well, who are you to do that? You know, our voice. But now then, oh, well, how do you achieve? And just changing that, switching it up into curiosity. Powerful stuff. Allison.
Speaking of which, there was a mind, you were reminding me of a mindset hack that I did when I was living in that valley of trying to find enough extra dollar for milk to give the children their drinks. And it was like, get a bit of paper out and write a list of 30 things today that you could get rid of, and sell it, create it, make it, and it was just like, okay, so it puts you into practicality of, right, instead of sitting here in the valley going, I don't have a dollar, I was like, right, get fucking practical, Allison. What can you do? Right, how many clothes have you got in the cupboard? Can you sell a couple of things? Can you go down and, get rid of this? And can you look at this? You've got this sitting around, you haven't touched it for 6 months. How about you get rid of this? Oh, actually, Allison, you're an energy healer. How about you sell a healing session? You could do that too. And it was just finding multiple ways and getting out of the one, like the blinkers on, one-way ticket type scenario. Because part of that conditioning is you go to work, you work a 9 to 5, you have 2.2 kids, you have your house, your car, that's the patriarchy era that was, right? So when you're conditioned from that mindset, you are blinkers on, stay in your own lane, just go to work, come home, do your thing. And we're multidimensional. We can't do it that way anymore. Women haven't been doing it that way for centuries, but we won't go down that rabbit hole, will we? We're only just starting to listen now.
Oh, I want to go there, though. I want to go there. But I know we've got to honour time. And this is where yes. I would invite you, if you're watching this on the replay, let's start having this as a regular session. I would love for us to go there to places and have these real conversations, because that's where it starts, is when you start to see normal people like us having these types of conversations, then all of a sudden you won't feel like you're a freak.
Yep.
Right. Oh, thank you so much. I want to sort of start to round this out, because you guys have shared so much gold here, and I'd really like to be able to each of you share what you've got coming up. Maybe for our audience, we're going to have links. Sophia will explain that, because I'm not good at this stuff, but I'd love to just give you a little bit of space so you can talk about what you've got coming up, and how that might help anyone that might be interested. So we'll start with you, Gloria.
Okay, well, what I've got coming up is I'm actually creating a community of my own, and this was something that came during a meditation session that things often do for me. It's called Soulful Women's Network is what I'm creating, and it's for entrepreneurs and not, anyone of all ages, but just a place where women can come together. And we are having our first networking session. I'm calling it Soulful Discussions, which is going to be on October 13th. I am in the United States, so it's going to be at 11:30 a.m. Eastern time. But if you can find, go search for me on Facebook, or search for Soulful Women's Network on Facebook. I have created a group for it as well, and but you'll find information about it, or just reach out to me. But I'm excited to see where this is going to go. So I have an idea of what I want to do. I want to have it be a place where we can have good conversations and help people in all areas of their their life and their business as well.
Oh, I love how you, oh gosh, I can't help myself. All these nuggets coming up. Gloria, you know, I mean, just that whole idea of how we do one thing is how we do all things. It just came up for me when you mentioned that. So, you know, we might be coming in from the angle of money here, but as you can see, overall, how we turn up even around our money. So an example is if we're avoiding money and we're giving our power to someone else to make decisions around our money, chances are you might be doing that in other areas of your life. So if you're building that muscle in one area, one of my clients said to me, I can't believe that everything's just fallen into place. I can.
Yeah.
All right, Heather, let's go.
Yeah, so I'm starting a free money circle. The first one on the 21st of October at 10:30 Sydney time. So it's a chance to be able to really have this kind of safe space to be able to talk about certain issues about money. There'll be a different theme for each one. The first one will be about regret. So just being able to have that safe space to be able to talk about your regrets, you know, just be able to have that sharing and getting off your chest and be able to heal from those things, because really there's no real place to be able to talk about these things.
No.
So it's just being able to have a forum where it's just very safe, very trusted, and being able to just share and heal. Yeah, there's this real need to heal from the trauma, because there is so much trauma around money. It just sort of stays in the body and just won't go, and it might not even be yours because there's stuff that comes through from ancestry as well. But just having that ability to be able to offload, I think, is really, really key in our society. So I'm really quite excited about that. And then I've got my next round of the Foundations of Financial Freedom coming up as well. The first step of it is Money Mindset Mastery. So that will be coming up as well. Thank you.
Perfect. Love that. And do not underestimate the skill it takes for someone who's experienced in all areas to be able to facilitate a safe conversation around money. So with this type of invitation, it's not one of those free-flowing forums where people just jump in and say, we're talking about someone who can hold space in a safe way. So thank you for the work that you're doing with that, Heather. It is much needed. We're really dismantling the bullshit around, you know, patriarchal control of financial literacy here. So amazing stuff. Stop, Taga. I can't stop. Allison, save me. Oh, you're on mute, darling. Can I unmute you?
I'll do it myself, don't mind me.
I missed out on the good part.
I do it all the time. So ask Sophia about missing out on the good part. I was just saying that I'm not gonna rescue you, because you're just like, I'm just sitting there going, yep, and yep, and yep, and yep. keep singing, yep.
Love it.
So the things, so many things. We're multidimensional beings, and I love to help women navigate that aspect of themselves through their business and accelerate their results. One thing that I have noticed is when I'm really sitting in my signature success, so by human design, your theme of who you are at the core when you're not yourself and when you're yourself, when you look at that, even if you know that as just a generic, so generators, their theme is to feel frustrated when they're not themselves and to feel satisfied when they are themselves. So energetically at the core, I started this when I left my marriage 13, 12, I don't know, that many years ago. I was like, is this going to make me happy? That was my first question. Always for myself, is this going to make me happy? Will this satisfy the need, the desire, the whatever in my soul? And if I got yes for both of those, that's what I did. And even now, like if I'm having a frustration moment or a frustration day, I'm like, oh, I'm not myself. What's going on? And even, you know, just by human design, if you know that, you will be already one step ahead of yourself. As for the offers, go down many rabbit holes. You can receive a human design reading, and we can find the sludge that's keeping you blocked from escalating your results. That is a free 20-minute call. And from there, we can talk about ways to work together if everything feels aligned and you're ready to go.
I just had this visual of the petrol tank with all the sludge down the bottom.
I actually had a picture of my liver.
Oh, no.
You know, when the liver gets real sludgy and it's slow to process and slow to, it kind of feels like that. And when the energy is not moving, it, like you said, it feels like that sludge at the bottom of the river or the petrol tank or your liver.
Yeah. Ew.
Yeah.
But you know what? You know, a lot of that we get to work with. We're not afraid of it anymore. We get to go, oh, that's the part of me that needs this. Maybe I don't need to be scrolling social media and going into carts and buying things. Maybe I just need to go out for a walk. You know, all of a sudden, all the spending leaks are plugged. It's all linked in together. Stop it, Taga. I'm going to move on. Thank you so much.
The leaky boat.
Yeah, leaky boat. All right. Hey, I'm going to invite Sophia in. She's going to talk a little bit more about what's coming up for us. But before I do that, I just want to thank you all for being here. Thank you for everyone that has been watching and also will be watching over the next few days. This is an empowering conversation we have just started. So let's start dismantling all the things that we talked about today and realize how much we have in our own resources to build from, to leverage from. Take care.
Thank you, Taga, and thank you for facilitating. What a wonderful discussion. I mean, I love this. I'm definitely going to go back and watch the replay, and it's been some really good tips, especially removing the sludge and unblocking the liver and things. And definitely going to be part of Gloria's networking group. And Heather, I've been putting all your links, I've been putting everyone's links in the comments, so do, for everyone who's watching us, whether it's live or replay, do check them out. Such a wonderful wealth, well of wisdom, on wealth, well on wisdom, well on wealth. There you go.
So just go www, shall we?
www, there you go. So thank you for that. So coming up tomorrow, we do have another panel discussion a little bit later, just after, in just over 24 hours, what is the panel discussion? I've just forgotten. Navigating your emotions. Really good. Thoroughly recommend joining in that. And of course, for anyone who wants to know more about our sacred communities, check out our website, sacredyou.love, where you can join us just for $1 for 21 days. You get to try out not just Taga's tribe, which is Restore Your Inner Money Guru tribe. Taga, just quickly tell us a little bit about that, and when's your next meeting?
Yeah, so it's a weekly tribe that I run, and it's I'm going to think time frame. So 2:00 Australian Eastern Standard Time, at 3 p.m. Australian Daylight Savings Time. Yep. So yeah, welcome to come in and hang out, and it's just free flowing conversation. We go there.
We go there thoroughly. Everything that's been discussed here and so much more is all in Restore Your Inner Money Guru tribe. Do recommend it. It has helped me. Before, this is honest, before trying to start a tribe, I was kind of like avoiding my bank account just because I was so focused on other things. Now I'm back in, my bank account's happy again, because I'm not avoiding it. We have a connection again. And of course, you can also join Allison's Human Design Tribe, Align by Design. And Allison, do you want to tell us very quickly about that?
Well, we get all right. Yes, Align by Design is the Human Design Tribe, and what we've been doing is working through the Human Design Centers and mixing it up with a little bit of fun. Where just like where normally we would put an oracle card, I will grab your human design chart, and we do like an oracle style reading for one particular energy, and give you some insight and wisdom around that. So you get to know your human design chart inadvertently because you're looking at different sections. You get to know how you operate and how you don't operate. And it's it's really fun, and we just get together and we just have a laugh and a chuckle and lots of F-bombs, but you know.
Good. And when's your next meeting?
Friday this week at 10:30 Australian Eastern
Daylight time.
Daylight.
You're in daylight time. So thank you very much. So thoroughly looking forward to that. And not just Tanga's tribe and Allison's tribe, but all our tribes. You can come and join us just for $1. Try us out for 3 weeks, and then after that it's just 15 Australian dollars a month. And plus you get to come to all these panel discussions. Amazing, lots of wealth and wisdom and passion. And thank you for joining us, and thank you for all you beautiful, wonderful women for sharing your passion, for taking this time to share with us all about how we can overcome these wonderful money blocks and just thrive financially and in our life. So